Welcome to episode number 150 of the Eavesdrop podcast, the award-winning Eavesdrop podcast, the award-nominated Eavesdrop podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Legendary himself, Hook in the house, Halo champion, world champion?
No, second.
Second champion?
Yeah.
Second place world champion.
Sure.
But champion in Halo, champion in Call
Halo,
of Duty.
Champion in COD, yeah.
Kyler, my man, thank you so much for joining. You're one of the dudes that I wanted to interview for the longest time, just simply because of your ascent to greatness in console esports, not just in Halo, but in Call of Duty. I came to know your name through Call of Duty, so I appreciate you taking the time to stop by.
No, thank you for having me.
Now, listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. You and I are going to talk about life. Theory. I want to know.
Oh, wow.
Listen, we can sit here and hit all the points, right? We'll talk about, you playing in Halo, then switching to COD, and then we can say that. But everybody knows your story. Like, it's really good. I want to know about you. What makes you you now? Obviously, you sit here at 23 years old. I'm 43 years old today. There's been a lot of maturity from the second that you stepped into gaming to where you are today. So, again, we'll touch on the points that we mentioned up here, but I want to know who are you today?
Well, okay, that's a good question. I mean, today I'm OpTic Hook, but behind that, I feel like I'm the same. I feel like I'm the same kid that I was, when I started, which I'm really proud of. I feel like I stayed true to myself through my grind. I think the only thing is, who I am today compared to back then is someone who really, and still am, striving to be, well, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I'm kind of just the same kid. I love the game. I feel like I'm relentlessly looking towards improvement every day. Still am. Nothing's really changed in that sense.
You mentioned that from a very early age you were a video game player. You just played games.
Yeah.
Is that who defines you as a person, a professional player? What makes you, right? I can sit here and say that I am a corporate person that sits behind a computer at OpTic, but at the core of me is an artist.
Yeah, I mean, definitely at the core of me, I think I look at gaming like, I don't treat it as if it's like my life, although I do put all my time and effort into it. I don't look at it as this is me, because it is my art and it's my passion and it's what I like to do. Yeah. But it's also not everything, right? I still have family and people I really care about, but it is the most important thing to me because I feel like it's taught me so much about who I am and through gaming, which is insane. But I love it, every second of it. I don't know. I guess that's really it. I hope that makes sense. But
no, it does. Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense because that's what you said it is. And, everybody can have their own opinions on you as much as they want. But at the end of the day, as long as, when you lay your head to rest every single night, you are who you are, and only you know that. And maybe the closest people to you know who that is. And the persona that is your competitive sort of iteration of you that's out there, and it's like this personality, this fierce competitor, this proven champion. That's only a small part of like what would make you, right? Like at the end of all of this, like, how do you want to be remembered? What do you want your grandkids to tell their friends? Like, yo, Grandpa Hook was this, right? Like, it's to define you by what you do is just like, so it's just such a minuscule thing that you sort of sometimes dread the fact that is what your job is, because it's so public that people just define you as that, when I believe that you might be way more than that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely I would like to say like someone who's been kind to everyone that I've met, someone who's tried his best to like be fair to everyone, and even in situations where it's weird, but that's really me though, honestly, man. I feel like I can say that proudly. Well, truthfully, I feel like I've tried my best in every situation to be fair through my gaming and even out of it. So
you and I sat down to talk December 20th of 2020.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Jesus, dude, that's such a long time. Which is why I continue to say, like, not a lot of people get a second chance. Not second chance, but like an easy sort of fit through back into the Eavesdrop, right? Not saying that this is like an exclusive club, but it's just like if life happens, and sometimes you're in a situation to be able to create content with someone you're friends with, but now we're teammates, and I mean that, right? Like OpTic is a team. I'm a part of that team, therefore you and I are teammates. Not because I'm out there, which I could. No, I'm kidding. Competing the way that you do. We just went through another roster change. My man Illy was replaced by a young up and coming talent whose name is GHOSTY, right? This dude Dan. I want to ask you, in situations like these, right? Because you've been through it, right? You just went through it with LAG, where they essentially benched you and let you go into free agency. I feel like your mental state and your approach, your mental approach to things is way different than any other player that I've ever met before. And I mean that because, when you talk to people, even on camera, like your demeanor is always just like leveled, right? Like there's no amplification of happiness, there's no amplification of sadness, you're just level set at all times. How do you manage that sort of zen like feel?
I think that's something that the game has taught me, trying not to get too high or too low with like results or anything like that, because it can be I feel like it can be a lot at times with all the things that are going on in gaming, through practice, through matches, through losing, through winning. So I feel like I just learned over time to not indulge myself too much into like the emotions of things, because it's a lot, man, what we do, I feel like. So I think that's really how, honestly, just not think too much about what's happening. I don't know. Yeah.
And how do you handle public criticism? Are you like me? When you first sat down, I said, I'm like, yo, not only have I had a busy day, but usually when there's a roster change or there's like things that are different at OpTic, I just stay completely off of social media. I believe that what we're doing is the right thing to do. And as much as it hurts to let go of somebody like Inder, who to me has been one of the best players that has ever played for me, somebody who I literally said, I'm like, this sucks because like I love the kid. He has impacted. I don't know, man. He's got this sort of calmness to him that I appreciate. And when this side of the business has to occur, it always brings me down a little bit, and I have like a little knot in my throat. I don't feel right, because if it was up to me, I would keep all the players that have ever played for me. But obviously they have their own path to follow, and hopefully one day it'll lead them back to the green. But
absolutely. And I think to your point too, it's never easy for like anyone. I feel like that it's hard for other people on the outside like to see that. I think me and you can understand that because we're in the situation, and it's never personal towards the person. I think there's so much involved that goes into like making things work. It sometimes is out of your control. So it's kind of like a team decision thing. You know what I mean? It's never personal, and just not taking anything to heart, I feel like, is the best way to go about it. On either, receiving side of it or, the good side of it, whatever it is. I feel like people don't know that on the outside.
When it happened to you, how did you deal with it?
I feel like I take everything as like it's gonna work out for me type vibe. I feel like that's the best way to put who I am. I feel like it's hard for me to explain that. I've heard like family members tell me that. That's just how I've always been, is like, it's gonna be fine. Whatever happens, it's gonna be fine. I think that's the approach I kind of take with me to life. It's like one thing down, but next thing is coming up for me. So whatever's for me out there, I'll be fine, you know. And I take that approach and I put my best foot forward. So I think that's a better way to put everything that I was saying before.
Yeah.
I said it better, way better now.
Yeah.
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 Because before, honestly, I was kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know what to say. I feel like this is just who I am. I've always been calm and kind. Whatever it is, man, I don't know. I don't think about it. I just do me and be myself.
Yeah. Do you think it comes from a deep self-understanding of who you are deep down, that you know that although this is your profession, this isn't what makes you, and whether it's a part of you or not, you're going to be fine because you have a good support system. Like what drives you to have that mentality, or what makes it easy for you to have that mentality?
I think it's my I don't know how to put it into words, but I guess like just a feeling inside of me. I feel like I've always feel like I feel like I'm meant to be doing what I'm doing. So if I continue this path, I'm gonna be fine. Like I genuinely mean that. I feel like I was meant for something, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's gaming, so it's gonna be good. Whatever's for me, I feel like I'm still just getting started.
How many championships do you have total?
I don't know.
I don't think we have them up there.
I don't know.
You don't know? Like,
No.
you know, for a champion to not know how many he has, there's got to be some reason as to why that is.
I think I feel like I'm gonna get more. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna get more.
So what
I feel
you have
like
already...
what I've learned through my wins and losses now isn't affecting my view on the future. I feel like there's more for me out there. So, yeah. I feel like even in my own potential. So, yeah.
The current team that you play for, OpTic, you've played against it for a very, very long time. Not to have the opportunity to play for the Green Wall. How was that experience coming out to that crowd? That energy, right? Like
it's intense.
You feel it.
Yeah, no, it's intense, man. It's crazy. I loved it. It was new. I've never been like, I was saying this like right after even we lost. I was like, wow, it's amazing to me how I'm getting, like, I don't really look at it too much, but I did. I was curious how I'm getting support after losing. I don't think I've ever had that as a player. Although obviously there's the hate and stuff too, but I don't really care about that. It's the fact that there are people that actually are supporting. That's new for me. I don't know. I never experienced that. So it's crazy to me. I mean, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm appreciative of it. I'm excited for what's next. Yeah.
So obviously currently you're now playing with GHOSTY, you're playing with Dashy, and you haven't started scrimming yet, but you're playing with SHOTZY, you're playing with these guys, but you also teamed with some of, if not the greatest Call of Duty players of all time. I don't remember your team in Halo, but you played with Clay, you've played with Crim, most recently you played with Scump. Like this is good company to be around, right?
Absolutely.
So what was it? Did you learn anything from that experience? Is that something that you think about fondly?
Yeah, I feel like it's all part of who I am today, for sure. I think like being with Crim, being with Clay, being with Halo, Ola, and Snipedown, I think they've really shown me like how to show up every day, be, you know, obviously be who you are, you know what I mean? I think that's really what I see in them, is they're themselves, not for anyone else either, you know? It didn't matter that I was on the team or whatever. They stay true to what they do, they stay true to who they are, and they be themselves, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what made them them. So I definitely take that along with like obviously in-game stuff too, but I think that's the main thing that I see for those guys, for them. Yeah.
For a person that's as I mentioned already, as level-headed as you, like how difficult is it for you to let a situation like, you know, playing next to Scump, one of, if not arguably the most popular Call of Duty player of all time, who was also skilled at the game, obviously, right? And that's you know, sometimes one overshadows the other. But having played against and with him, how have you been able to handle that whole like shift?
It's definitely a big shift. I feel like I've handled it all right. I've truly tried my best so far to, like, you know, fill in however I got to fill in, but Yeah, I mean, I felt good about so far about everything. I know there's a lot of work to be done. I know that, which also is exciting in itself. So, that's really all. That's really all I got for that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Got a fucking email that pissed me off. So let me close here. Because I, unlike you, don't have the ability to be level-headed and just cool, you know. Sometimes
I don't know how I do. I'm gonna be honest.
Sometimes it gets the best of me.
You're good.
Outside of Call of Duty, outside of gaming, and although I understand that you're a super professional, super passionate professional, is there anything outside of that you have hobbies on? Is there?
Yeah, I like basketball.
You like playing basketball or watching it?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, watching too. I mean, I like playing, but watching's cool. I like the stories of the players. I feel like this generation of basketball, like hoopers, they're crazy.
Yeah.
They're so good. Yeah. Other than that.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
90s basketball. 90s basketball. That is. Well, that's the best storyline you're ever gonna see. There's no single storyline in this day and age that can match the titans that were the 90s first of their kind basketball superstars, right?
I'll take your word on that.
Yeah, please do. And trust and believe. Like these rivalries like led to an era of basketball that was the best, and I feel sorry and I feel glad at the people who were able to experience it and the people who weren't, because the people who experienced it don't enjoy this day and age basketball as much. So it's a balancing act. Do
you think it's like a? I believe you. I'm curious, but like, do you think it's like is it actually like that, or is it nostalgia? You think? Is it actually like that?
I mean, I think to enjoy life, you have to remember everything about your experiences, whether it's present or past. Right? I think it all adds up into one thing at the end of the day. Yeah. And for me to say, you know what? Yeah, it's nostalgia. It's almost a disservice to the actual experience that I had, because it was real. And although I am remembering the happiness I had when the Bulls won championship after championship, it doesn't mean that it wasn't as real and that I wasn't as passionate about it just because it happened so long ago, right? Like if I'm able to feel these feelings decades after it happened, nostalgia almost is just a way to identify what it means. But the feeling is real. As true as it's ever been.
I never thought about it. Wow, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I never thought about it like that. That's so true, though. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's fucking cool.
It's like, you know, you enjoy what you enjoy, and for people to just dismiss it as, you know, not being true because it happened so long ago, or to compare, you know, athletes from back then or who they competed against versus the athletes of today and who they're competing against, is a disservice to the whole sport, because, you know, you only know what you know, and you only compete against what's in front of you. You have no choice to be competing against. You have no choice into which era of this timeline of the universe you were chose to be in. So for people to dismiss who your competition was because you weren't born in or in 2003, right? And now you're getting into the league when it's arguably, and I mean that arguably because I'll argue all day long that it isn't the most competitive it's ever been. It's just not true. It's like asking you this: what's more competitive, right? If I ask Crim6, when was the hardest era of Call of Duty? Right?
He's gonna say his era.
He's gonna say his era.
Yeah.
Right. Even though he competed in this era, and he may not have had the same success that he had back then, but that doesn't mean that what he was competing against back then wasn't competitive.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah.
So, what do you think? As far as the competition, which one do you think?
For Call of Duty?
Yeah, you've been playing for a long time.
I was gonna say, I feel like it was mine. Like, like now that you say it, I feel like it was back then. I don't know what that is. I guess it's just how I feel, I guess. Yeah. I mean, the difference I think now compared to back like a few years ago, this could just be me, but I do feel like the teams were way more of teams than they than they are now. Like I feel like being on a team was much different back then than it is now. I think people were worried less about, you know, every day-to-day results, and I think ultimately that helped the team become like great, or you know what I mean. Teams become teams because no one was tripping over a loss. Obviously, you know, you had emotions, flair, and all that, but it was never like, oh, you know, it's over.
Yeah.
You know? Everyone wanted to be there. Everyone wanted to play. Obviously, it's still like that, but yeah. That's just my experience.
I think the league becoming what the league became made it much easier for people to dismiss or to change or to ask for change quicker rather than later, simply because there's only 12 teams. Yeah. There's an infinite amount of talent out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So for people to sort of sit there and try to work things out it's just easier to find someone better. And although I am the last person to say what I'm saying right now because of the way that I've treated my team for the longest, I love consistency. I love being able to have the same characters in this story always there. It's easier to follow. It's easier to care. But there is something to be said about the fact that with the amount of money that was pumped into Call of Duty, it sort of shifted the team dynamic to something completely different. Back in the day, team owners were the ones that were setting the flights and getting people to the airport, finding the luggage that got lost, making sure that every player was there. Now you have a general manager who has an assistant general manager who has a coach and an assistant coach, and somebody there is going to have to find the person who's looking for.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. No, 100%.
Right? It's just the level of camaraderie that happened back then, people trying to figure out problems together. You know, there's no hierarchy. It was just like, this is the dude that manages the team. We're the players. We're here. He's the one that's going to make sure that the caps are there. Like, and it was like a team dynamic that is no longer replicable. Well, we do a really good job at that because we have a small, tight-knit team. Yeah. But I do think that something changed. You know?
I feel the same way.
When you go through adversity outside of the game, it just makes it easier for you to go through adversity in game because your relationship that you forge with people outside of the game in being late for a flight and making it, right? Small successes that you come to together, like, has such an effect on the team building aspect of it that you would rather not do or go through that with anyone else but the people that you're sitting next to.
I feel that. I feel the same way. It was like that. It like you said, like, you guys do a good job, and it can still be like that. It's just a little bit more. The shift, I feel like, is a little bit more like individual based now. Weird, but I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. What are some of the changes that you've seen? Obviously, joining OpTic. Comparing them, and I'm not saying say negative things about anyone. I'm just like, what is the difference between, like, what are some of the outstanding or very clear differences between OpTic and other orgs that you've worked with?
So I'll say this: I think the overwhelming support you guys give, like welcoming energy towards everything you guys do, is much different. I don't feel like I have to be careful or say certain things, whatever it is. I feel like you guys, no matter what I say or not even what I say, but like, you know, you guys are out here looking out for each other. And I see that way more than any other team. Yeah. Not talking shit. No. It's facts, bro. I feel like I've got a warm welcome here, so I appreciate it. It's much appreciated as a player because it ain't like that.
No. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. XEO. XEO, what does it stand for? What does it mean?
So XEO, it was kind of a, looking back at it, it's funny. It was just, it really means nothing, honestly. Like, it was a thing that we created back in the day because, like, it was like, basically we wanted to like have like a little like group of like people who shot really straight or whatever it was. And then it turned into like, we found out it means like certain things in different languages, like ice, and then, ego chow, which is kind of like just what we do.
Wait, how does XEO mean challenge.
It doesn't really make sense.
Uh-huh.
But I think that's the best part about it is like we kind of made it with no like intention of it being really anything.
Yeah.
It turned into something fun. That's why like I don't really care too much about it, but it is really fun and really cool that like we made something out of something that literally means nothing. Really. I mean, we just have, I don't know. Yeah. I like that.
You seem like a very introspective being.
Yeah.
What is
I am. Yeah.
what is it about the current state of Call of Duty, for example, that you yourself would like to see sort of change, or either for the better, for lack of a better term, what would you change if you had a magic wand to do?
Taking myself out of it, I think I would like support for the players. Individual, I think something that just isn't talked about enough or isn't really a thing for Call of Duty players is, what is the word? Player development, talent development, developing talent. Because I feel like there's so much talent that it's not a good environment for so many people right now for their talent to develop. I think the environment like of how everything's treated and everyone obviously wants to win, but like you also got to go through shit to improve, right? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel like there's a good environment for you to go through shit and improve at the same time. Yep. It's like just win or, get out. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think that's the best thing for players, honestly. Like I said, taking myself out of it, I just feel like players deserve, time and resources however they need it. It's different for everyone. It could be different for someone else, but that's really all I would like, honestly.
Give me a second. Let me say hello to the sponsors really quickly. DraftKings being the first sponsor of this week's podcast, and I certainly appreciate them coming back. Obviously, your support as the people that watch this and utilizing the tools and offerings that we have here through our sponsors definitely allows them to keep coming back, because obviously you guys are utilizing. So if you are ready for the biggest Sunday in esports, as it is in the Super Bowl, DraftKings Sportsbooks, an official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl 57, has all the Super Bowl action that you need. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get in on the Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour Super Boosts. Well, what is that? Well, if you check the DraftKings Sportsbook application every day between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get to see what the prop bet will be for that game and the boosted offering that they have going on between the hours of 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My pick for the Super Bowl this year is going to have to be the Eagles. I obviously can't go against my friend and teammate, Mr. Scumper Jumper. And since the Chicago Bears don't have a shot in hell to get in there anytime soon, unless we fix our quarterback issues, unless we fix our offensive issues. Defense, we've always had, solid there, but neither here or there. I digress. If the Bears aren't in there, I'm gonna obviously support somebody that my friends support. You'll never catch me wearing any Eagles stuff, just to be clear, but I am going to support Scumper Jumper. So my pick is going to be the Eagles. Final score is going to be 37-34, high scoring game, which is going to be exciting for everyone. But yeah, look, if you download the DraftKings Sportsbook application and use code HECZ, that's H3CZ, new customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code H3CZ. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See notes for details. And there will be a disclaimer in the description down below. So please do check it out. And if you want to do more research on all of this, DraftKings Sportsbook application has some information there that you can look at. But yeah, download the DraftKings Sportsbooks application and use code HECZ. That is HECZ with the 3, H3CZ. And new customers, as I mentioned, can get $5 on their first deposit and get up to $200 in free bets instantly. Shout out to the Super Bowl 57. Looking forward to having some fun with my friends as I watch this. And yes, have fun responsibly. So I certainly want to thank again DraftKings for supporting the podcast. Next, but certainly not least, we have HelloFresh. Now, lately, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've been slimming down a little bit. And it's not because it's mating season. No, I am off the reservation when it comes to that. I am off the market. Okay? I just want to look good for the summer. Here in Texas, it gets so hot that you can't get away with being a little bit hefty sometimes and wearing a hoodie, something that slims you down. So you have to slim down by doing the work and also eating healthy. Okay? With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and more importantly, affordable. That's why it is America's #1 meal kit. Remember those New Year's goals that you promise yourself you stick to? I do. No sugars, no pasta, no bread, no fun. But here's the solution. Here's the solution. HelloFresh is here to help you be an even better person by eating better, by delivering fresh ingredients and easy recipes right to your door, taking the hassle out of dinner time, right? Like the amount of time that you spend thinking about what it is you're going to do. If you're like me, because of the options that are available to you, it just makes it so much more difficult. I wish there was just one option. This is what you're eating, and open the fridge. Here's HelloFresh. HelloFresh. Put that to start cooking, warming it up, and get eating. HelloFresh now has 40 weekly recipes to choose from, so you can say bye-bye to your recipe rut and treat yourself and your family to exciting new flavors every week. No matter your lifestyle or meal preferences, HelloFresh has recipes sure to please everyone at your table. From fit to wholesome to veggie or family-friendly, you'll always find something even the peakiest eaters will enjoy. You'll only find quality ingredients in HelloFresh recipes. In fact, ingredients travel from the farm to your home in less than 7 days, so you know they are fresh. If you know the story here of the Eavesdrop for over the past 4 years, I believe, Maddie and I have always split the things that are sent to us, and HelloFresh is one of those things. So he'll get half, I get half, and everybody has a good, nutritious meal that we can, eat from. So right now, if you go to HelloFresh.com/H3CZ65, that is HECZ65 with the 3, and use code H3CZ65, you will get 65% off plus free shipping. Okay? Go to HelloFresh.com/HECZ65 and use code HECZ65 with the 3 for 65% off plus your free shipping. So, again, go to HelloFresh.com/H3CC65 and use code H3CC65 for 65% off free shipping. Click the link in the description. That way you only have to type the code once. And then again, it's H3CC65 for 65% off plus free shipping. Back to my man, Hook. Do you have any ideas as to how we can reach something like that? Any like this? You can start here and then work yourself up to something.
That's a tricky one. I don't know, because it is COD and it's not like, I don't know what I can compare it to. I don't think I guess I was going to say like the NBA, I feel like they do a good job of like trusting and understanding what players need. I feel like this idea doesn't get supported enough, is like, okay, we have Steph Curry. He's really good at shooting threes. Let's help him improve. Let's not try to change who he is and make him a different player. Let's help him improve, be Steph Curry. I feel like in COD, you kind of join this league and it turns you into a completely different person and player than you naturally are.
Yeah.
And building on that strength, building on those strengths as a player. I don't know. I feel like I see that a lot. Is like, okay, he comes in, he's really good at what he does, but then like switches up a bit, switches up everything, which is good and could be good and bad. Obviously, you need to learn, but I don't know. That's what I see whenever I play in this game.
Yeah, and speaking on that same topic, what would you like to see from a game standpoint? What would you like to see changed, or where do you see some improvements or areas of improvement?
So for what I was saying, basically?
No, that was more player, right? That was more player development and player help, and obviously it's super important. But what about the game? The game itself?
Oh, the game itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
The community itself, the game, the league itself.
Yeah. I think the game aspect of it, I feel like everyone wants good maps, right? I know that's like an easy one to say, but I love gaming, bro. I want good maps too. I don't know what they can do for that to happen, because I know it's never going to be perfect. I'm also aware of that. It's never going to be perfect. No matter how good the map is, everyone's still going to have something to say. But I do think like there could be a good map set, and I think that would help a lot, honestly.
Mm-hmm. What about rules? What about, you know, things that the league itself can improve on? Communication, maybe?
Communication for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that I was just saying kind of stems from communication between the league and the players. I feel like there's never been a good relationship. I don't know how that can mend, but I'm hoping one day like everyone can fucking, you know, be more friendly when it comes to like working on the league, right? I feel like someone's always trying to like change something, and then it, you know, and there's turmoil if someone gets upset, yada yada. Either one party, I should say, gets upset, but I feel like it just needs to be like an understanding between both parties. Like, okay, we want the best for this league, so do the players. I know we're dicks sometime, but you know, we're really good at the game too, and we know what we're talking about. So if there's like a mutual understanding between that, shit can get done. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I'm a dreamer or some shit, but that's how I feel like.
But you're not the only one.
Yeah. I feel like it can get handled. We just gotta be mature about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously a big business behind, you know, Activision, Call of Duty as a whole. So for them to, for us as a community to make them understand the importance of something that is just so not as important to them as the overall business, right? It's crazy. And look, I go back to like the beginning of this podcast 149 episodes ago. For 148 episodes ago, I interviewed David Vonderhaar, one of the biggest supporters of Call of Duty competitive, one of the biggest, you know, sort of, I don't want to say sort of, one of the biggest allies that we've had as a community, and you know, we've had moments in which people like that come along and put their best foot forward in trying to, one, understand what the community is, two, understand how it can help, and also how they can help it without, you know, disturbing the overall you know, ecosystem that is the Call of Duty universe. So, you know, I think that in moments we've had that from people, and as much as we tried to take advantage of the opportunity, as much as they try to help, I don't think that we ever got to a place of maturity, and I'm not saying, you know, human maturity, but a concept maturity of what it is that we could do as esports in Call of Duty. When the league came about, the concept of the league came about, like that was what I thought was going to be the purpose of the league, right? To allow for the scene to mature to a self-sustainable place in which we are all able to continue to work on the thing that we are most passionate about, while promoting good and while promoting a game that, you know, that we love to play, right? Keep and this obviously goes back to the importance of culture versus the business side of Call of Duty. If you look at what's happening right now, especially with the conversations of Twitch moving over to YouTube, like you sort of see this vision of business people saying, we are going to get money over here, and this alternative, this purple alternative is not giving us any money. But when you boil it all down, you would rather have the audience that we have right now. The bigger the community, the better, right? So for us to go back to a smaller community that is, you know, Call of Duty on YouTube, it's a disservice to the hard work that has been implemented since 2005 for Call of Duty competitive.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. What's your thought about Twitch versus YouTube?
I mean, that's an easy one. Twitch for sure. I feel like no reason.
Is it a matter of the chat being better, the product being better? Because YouTube, you know, they're
YouTube
not.
is a good product.
Yeah,
that is interesting. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that, because I feel like I don't really like focus on it too much. But to me, it's simple because people like Twitch. People like watching live streams on Twitch. YouTube is a great platform too, though. I don't know why it couldn't be as successful, but for some reason, that's just the way it's been. I might be a little uneducated on that because I don't know like all the ins and outs of each platform, but I do know they're both good platforms, but everyone loves Twitch. So kind of got to go where everyone's at, right? To grow.
Location.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. You know, as we sort of get into the nitty gritty of what that deal looks like, and as we're trying to get the answers from the league as to why that was even a consideration or why they even went down that path without consulting the people, I often find myself thinking on what it is that we as owners didn't do, or what it is as that the league didn't do. You know, for the communication or the trust, or you know, the simple just plain respect of the deal that we had with each other, that says, hey, we're in this thing together, let's communicate with each other before making decisions. And it's just, I don't know, and you know, transparency is something that the Call of Duty community has always been asking for the longest time. I often feel that if developers were able to say, hey, let's take it all the way back, the silent bomb plant, you know, we didn't know that it existed, but now what we're going to do is we're going to shift it to this because of this. Like, no transparency as to what went into the decision to remove the red dots out of the minimap. Like, there really isn't any explanation for it. There's no explanation as to why, if a group of investors and individuals got together to put money into a product, why that product wasn't extracted out or removed from the bigger bubble that is Call of Duty and said, hey, this product here is going to live outside of this very popular, very important part of the Activision business, but we are partners here. So the amount of support for this like should have been available for us to have.
Yeah, nah, that is interesting because I don't really like look into like that side of the stuff too much. I probably, you know, but what I find interesting most about what you're saying is, because you look at the league, man, they paid a lot of money to get in. You know what I mean? So how and why aren't you guys getting more say and recognition of what these decisions are? And they don't make much sense to me because, like, we look at it for money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. You guys should be listening.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, but when you know when a business is doing $4 million a day sometimes in skins,
That's true.
You know, they're like, well, you know, we appreciate it, but this is where our business is. So from that perspective, it was good. And where I was going with the David Vonderhaar conversation is that, you know, we have to be okay with the fact that some of these developers and some of these studios are learning their place in this new invention of a sport that we've created for their game, where they've set out to create a piece of art. We've turned into a sport, a spectating sport. So, you know, as much as I always try to calm down and look at both sides of the story, it just, every single time there's a decision like this one, it just makes me wonder how much longer I can even deal with something like this, right? Like, why am I beating my head against the wall as often as I am to try to explain something, to try to, you know, sort of bring something better to a product that's ready.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm sure that, that's probably a process that doesn't get anywhere.
Nah, it's disappointing, very, very disappointing at times. Talk to me about GHOSTY, man. What was the decision behind GHOSTY? Obviously, if you know anything about OpTic, we've never made a challenger amateur pickup ever. Wow. There really isn't a reason behind it. I don't think that we went out of our way, as we do in other things, that we go out of our way to not do something. But in this case, it was just like the opportunity never presented itself. And for the longest time, or recent, up until the Dashy situation that just happened, I stepped completely away from decision making on the team, and I'm just there to support what, you know, you as players know better than anyone out there, including the Call of Duty experts, right? That sort of have their opinions as to how things should be ran. But at the end of the day, you guys are the front line, and you guys know what you need. You guys know where the gaps are, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So
I'll speak about this maturely because I know it's never going to be an answer that anyone wants to hear, but it's kind of like what I was saying before. I mean, I just joined the team, and, you know, I'm here to do my best with, you know, what I got here. But regardless of that, I think it's one of those decisions where obviously I think we all love Ender, right? I think everyone does. It just seemed like to me that it was something that wasn't needed, but was on people's mind on the team for a while now. You know, obviously they've been teaming together for like 2-3 years now. I know Shotzi and Ender have been teaming with each other forever, and then obviously last year they were all together, them three. So they obviously have like they know a lot about how they work and how if things can work and if they can't and yada yada. You know, people try to make things work and sometimes they don't, even if it's, like I said, out of our control, or out of a person's control, whatever it is. I think it was just one of those needed moves for everyone to move on, in my point of view. Just from being here for the past 3 weeks, I think it was needed for them, and I'm not going to speak too much on it, but you guys know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how shit works sometimes and how it goes. It's unfortunate, but I think moving forward with Ghosty, he's someone that is highly looked at right now. I'm excited to have him here. I'm excited for him to come on board and, you know, showcase what he's got. You know what I'm saying? I think he's got it. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. What is
what's a word of advice that you would give him? You know, obviously you just got here. You experienced the green wall, the support for the first time. What do you tell somebody that's brand new? Not only is this dude coming from challengers and hasn't been on a professional team before, right, at this level, but to go to OpTic, right, like right away, like that's got to be a level of there's got to be a level of advice that you would want to, you know.
I feel like he's in a good rhythm right now. You know what I mean? I don't think he has to worry about too much. I think as long as he does him and, you know, trust himself and all that good shit, he's gonna be just fine, man. He'll be fine. I mean, he's definitely really good at this game right now, so he knows what he's doing. I don't think he has anything to worry about, honestly.
No. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm happy. You know, obviously it's sad to see Scump retire, but I am happy as to what he and, you know, what he's been doing with the show. More importantly, and I'm not saying that in a mean way, but more importantly for me, I think is this new era of OpTic, right? I think for the longest time, seeing the sunset sort of getting to the place that it's at right now, where Seth's retired, the sort of the old guard is like gradually sort of separating from this new age of Call of Duty. I've been preparing for a long time. I know what I would like to have on my team, and having young talent is super important for me, and I am okay with making small sacrifice in the short term to make sure that that the OpTic Call of Duty team is set for success for the next 10 years, the same way that we were set for this success with Scump over the last decade. So for me to sacrifice what this vision looks like in 10 years or what this team looks like in 10 years for, you know, for a small period of time, the revolving door of OpTic, right, of we're getting rid of Dashy's back. We're getting rid of Ender. Here's Prolude. Ender's back. You know, you're here now. Seth retires. Now Illy's gone, and this like it may feel as a revolving door of characters that are coming in and out of this thing as we sort of formulate or find our step after somebody as important as Scump leaves. I just see that as like things that we have to do, dials that we have to move to find what our footing is, so that we can have a good decade of steady competition, of steady characters within a team that can work together to get to the place where we need to get to. And for me, having, again, as I mentioned, like young talent was priority number one. So anytime that somebody young like Dashy came into the picture, or someone young like Dylan Envoy when he was in Huntsman, any single time that we got someone young, I was like, I'm like, perfect. This is the perfect opportunity for if and when Scump wants to pass the torch down to someone, that it is going to be somebody who's going to be around for a very, very long time. If it would have been Scump passing the torch down to somebody like name a player who's been around for a long time, like that there's an expiration date there, right? But when you have somebody that's 19, 20 years old, as we do with Shotzi and with you and with Dashy, that gives us the most opportunity to take advantage of a team that it's solidified.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, Ant's gonna be around. I know that. That kid's
nasty.
He's got it. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be around too, but
yeah. You see something different in Shotzi than you do other players? Or why do you say that?
I just say that because Ant's my friend, and I've known him for a long time. I know he's gonna be just fine for a while. So, yeah.
Good.
He's nice.
Yeah, he is.
Nothing else to say there.
Yeah. Again, I'm excited for this new young iteration of OpTic competitive players. I'm happy that Seth has chosen to cover the league and do a show surrounding, the competition aspect of the league. Simply because losing that sort of viewership in somebody like Scump, and the dude's worked hard and long enough in order for him to have the right to say, I don't want to do anything anymore. But instead he chose to do the opposite, and he chose to straight up get to work immediately. Dude didn't even take a week off after the retirement. He directly and straight away went straight into the watch parties.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's impressive. He's working hard, that's for sure. Yeah.
All right, so what can we expect, going forward from this team, from this young, up and coming, ready to win team?
Going forward for this team, I feel like, in my mind, I don't see a way we don't succeed. So I don't know if that's me.
I like the confidence.
But I feel like it's on us. It's on me. So in a good way.
Yeah.
I feel like,
You like the pressure?
I feel like I'm at a point where it's inevitable. So I'm going to make the best out of it. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate the fact that you don't look at the negative comments out there. I'm very much the same, almost the same. I do see them. Sometimes I get angry. But at the end of the day, the amount of overwhelming support versus this tiny little squeaky wheel that's out there, it's just easier to focus. It's easier to have a life where you're just focusing on the people that matter instead of the ones that don't. So unless you have anything else that you want to say, man, I appreciate you stopping by. I look forward to seeing what this new team looks like.
I got nothing else. I appreciate, being here.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Appreciate you. Everybody, Hook's information is going to be in the description down below. Make sure to follow him. Make sure to support. Thank you for your support. See you guys on the stream as we cheer on this newly formed OpTic Gaming team.
Peace.
Until next time.